Mr. Grable here, and we are going to be going over 4th grade Go Math lesson 2.3, and we're going to be really focusing on multiplying tens, hundreds, and thousands. So in today's lesson, you're going to see a lot of zeros, and we're going to continue to build off of our basic multiplication facts. Like I've been telling you, continue to practice those basic multiplication facts. It's really important all the way through high school and college, so it's really important. All right, so this first problem that we're going to take a look at is right here, and it talks about, it reads, each car on a train has 200 seats. How many seats are on a train with 8 cars? So we need to solve this equation. 8 times 200 equals blank. So one of the first things that we do is, kind of relating back to our basic arrays from 3rd grade, is we would draw a picture. And their picture here is a little confusing, so I want to explain what's going on. So first off, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows. All right, so here's that. Now, you may be wondering what these represent. And you're like, well, Mr. Grable, last year you did arrays like this. If it was 4 times 2, you put an X. And each one of these X's represented 1. So 4 times 2 is 8, right? But since it's 200, you'll notice that they're drawing the hundreds block. So each one of these represents 100. See? One row of 200, another 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200. So when we can do, as they made this array, it's very similar, but instead of X's, they're putting that hundreds block in there, and we can just go ahead and count them out. I'm labeling these as the 100 blocks. You don't need to. You just make the hundreds square. So this is a great way of connecting our basic arrays to a little bit more complex, more complicated arrays to represent really our numbers. So we can count this as 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000, right? 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, 1,500, 1,600. And you can just see that they kind of broke it up as 1,000 and then 600. So it would be 1,600. All right? Now, so this is a great way to solve a problem. We can do the same thing if our problem, let's say, is 5 times 70. Okay, so we would make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and then 70, I'm not going to put 70 X's in each row. That would take forever and would be super messy. But since this is tens, this is 7 tens. I can go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 tens, 7 tens, 7 tens, 7 tens, 7 tens. You notice how I did my best to line them up. Now, so if I'm struggling with my facts, I can just go back in and count by tens. 10, 20, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250, 260, 270, 280, 290, 300, 310, 320, 330, 340, 350. So 5 times 70 is 350. Both of these ways, making that array and then just changing our X's to represent the different numbers, is really to represent those tens or hundreds. This is a good way. You may be a little bit inaccurate because we're counting and our numbers are getting pretty big pretty fast. So if you do this method, make sure that you're really counting carefully. All right. The other way, well, another way I should say, is to use place value. So let me zoom in here on this problem for you down here at the bottom. So here's our problem, same as up here. So we already know the answer, but let's solve it this way. 8 times 200 is 8 times 200, right? 8 times 200. So I personally really like this way. I rewrite my problem like this. I look at it as 8 times 2 is 1600. Well, 1600s, I can make my place value chart, right? Well, 16 needs to end in that hundred spot, in that hundreds place, and then I fill in the 0. So there are 1,600 seats on the train with cars. I really like this. We talked about this last year. 16, and then I move the zeros. 1,600, or it's the same as 1,600. So this is a great way, especially for you students that are starting to master your multiplication facts. This is a quick, easy way to do it. And you know that I always want you to make a fact triangle. Same thing, 8 and then 200. Our product goes up at the top. So just a little bit bigger numbers, holding those places with zeros. Let's take a look now at using a number line. And this can be a confusing way for some kids, but this can also really help you visualize what's going on here. So Bob's sled shop rents 4,000 sleds each month. Bob is super busy. How many sleds does the store rent in 6 months? So in 1 month it was 4,000. In 2 months it would be 8,000. How many for 6 months? So we're going to be multiplying. So multiplication can be thought as repeated addition. We know that. So we can draw jumps to show the product. So just 6 times 4 would be 6 jumps of 4. 1 jump, 2 jumps, 3 jumps, 4 jumps, 5 jumps, 6 jumps, and we get to that 24. We can also see in 6 times 40, we're going to do 6 jumps of 40. So that's a plus 40, plus 40, plus 40, plus 40, 40, 40. 1 jump, 2 jumps, 3 jumps, 4 jumps, 5 jumps, 6 jumps. There we go. We can also, when we look at the problem is 6 times 400, we're going to do jumps of 400. So 400, 400, 400. And since it's 6 times, we're going to do 6 jumps. That gets us to 2,400 or 2,400. We can also do the jumps by 4,000. We're not doing jumps of 1,000. See, that's a jump of 4,000. So you definitely got to pay attention. And like I said before, our numbers get pretty big pretty fast with this. And then we do the 6 jumps, and we get there. So he would rent 24,000 sleds in 6 months. That's a whole bunch of sledding. I wonder how much hot chocolate would go with that. But we can really just use our basic facts with this. We really can just do 6 times 4,000. Okay? And we do 6 times 4. We know that 6 times 4 is 24,000. Our place value chart. Remember, we've been working on renaming numbers, and this is why. 24,000. I just hold the hundreds, tens, and ones with zeros. This is the way that I really encourage you to do to solve these types of problems. Let's take a look at a couple of problems. All right. So let's take a look at number 2, 3, and 4. And if you want, you can pause and work on these by yourself and then come back and we can check. So I really like these types of problems because it's really helping us understand what's going on here. All right? So 3 times 8 we know is 24. 3 times 8 is 24. And I move to 0. Look how I'm underlining my factors, the 3 and the 8, and then I'm underlining that product and moving the 10 0. 3 times 800 is 2400. You notice how I'm really showing that 3 times 8 is 24, and then I'm showing that hundreds. 3 times 8 is still 24, and always will be. And then there's 3 zeros. So 24,000. Number 3, 6 times 20. Oops. 6 times 2 is 12. 110. 6 times 2 is 1200. 6 times 2 is 12. And I got thousands here, right? Now, number 4 is a little tricky because the product for 4 times 5 is 20. And it's confusing because there's that 0 there. And sometimes we get mixed up. So it's really important that you underline the factors in the product, their product. So 4 times 5 is 20. Move that tens over. 4 times 5 is 20. And then since it's 100, 100. 4 times 5 is 20,000. So it is kind of goofy when the product has that 0. So just make sure that you are careful. All right, let's go down to problem 7 and 8 and 9. And this is that another opportunity for you to pause your video and try them on your own and then unpause it, and then we'll go from there. All right, so number 7, 7 times 6, I know is 42. If you don't know 7 times 6, make an array off to the side. Make 7 groups of 6. However you want to do it is fine, but you got to take that effort if you don't know the multiplication fact. So 7 times 6 is 42. Then there's 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3, comma. 7 times 6 is 42,000. Number 8, 4 times 8 is 32. And I move the 10. 32 tens. 32 tens looks like that. 32 tens is 320. Number 9, 3 times 500 would be 3 times 5 is 15. Bless me. 1,500. Okay? All right. So I really hope that this video has helped you. Let me know if you have any questions. We have been working on multiplying by tens, hundreds, and thousands. The big thing, keep practicing those multiplication facts.